Hey, so one of my topic for exam 2 is discuss the ethical distinction between killing and letting die. So the idea of ethical distinction between killing and letting die is really important in the field of biomedical ethics, since it's primarily impact the decision made in healthcare concerning end of life care. So we have James Rachel and Daniel Sulmasy, who really have, both of them have really opposite ideas on this topic, and they both provide rich bias critical analysis for this topic. So James Rachel, he really objects this idea, and for him killing and letting die is same like crime and have same intention, and the motive behind killing and letting die is same and is for the personal gain. And he argues this by having explaining iconic case of Smith and Jones. So in this case, he says that Smith drowned his cousin for money, which is active killing, and Jones, even though he knows that his cousin is going to drown himself, and he let him die, he didn't try to save him, which is like passive killing. Like he's not directly killing his cousin, and that's why it's passive killing. But intention behind this action is like money, which is like personal gain, and so both the actions have like equal amount of crime in that, and thus there is no difference between killing and letting die for him. On the other side, Sulmasy's his articulation of difference is he really tried to defend his point of view, by saying that the actions are fundamentally different, and because both have like different intentions and moral responsibility, and there is permission involved in these actions. So for the intention, he says that killing directly involves cause of death, but letting people die, letting to die involves refraining from preventing death. So letting die might be avoided by prolonging suffering without directly causing death, which is good for patients, which put an end to their suffering. And moral permissibility. So according to Sulmasy, determining moral permissibility of action requires agent's intention, the action itself, and the context. So for example, withholding the life-sustaining treatment to a terminally ill patient to avoid suffering can be morally permissible, but directly or while administering a lethal dose to medication for death is not. So they both really have different views, but their different views are really important in the context of biomedical ethics. And the practical practice for this ethical determination is really good in the biomedical ethics, because it enriches our understanding of decision making for healthcare, or it guides policies and practices that balance compensation, responsibility, and intent. My second topic is discuss the ethical permissibility of voluntary euthanasia. Voluntary euthanasia refers to a practice where an individual consents to end their life. They are typically putting an end to their suffering and severe pain. So we have arguments which support the idea of voluntary euthanasia, and some arguments which are in opposition for the idea of euthanasia. So the arguments which support this idea, the first is autonomy. Autonomy is ethical principle which gives an individual to have which give an individual right to make a choice for their own life and for their health. And euthanasia respect this right and personal liberty by giving them option to avoid the prolonged suffering. The second is compassion. So euthanasia can be seen as an act of compassion. Biomedical technology can prolong life, but they do not have quality of life. So which leads to condition where patient may have to endure severe pain, loss of function, or they have to depend on others, which can be like physically excruciating. The third point is quality of life. So quality of life should be like above the prolongedness of the disease, and for the patients having degenerative disease or conditions that is severely compromise their quality of life, voluntary euthanasia is an option which help them to put an end to their suffering, and which can be like physically, mentally and emotionally good for the patient. The fourth point is psychological relief. This availability of euthanasia provides significant psychological comfort to patient, knowing that they have control over their fate and they can avoid this prolonged suffering. Now the arguments which oppose the idea of voluntary euthanasia. So the first is sanctity of life. The sanctity of life is like giving life that is morally, like intentionally killing is morally wrong, and like life is valuable and sacred. So no matter what the circumstances are, intentionally ending life is morally wrong. The second is potential for abuse. So people argue that legalizing this voluntary euthanasia could open doors of potential abuse, where we have like a vulnerable population, say for example elders, mentally ill people, and disabled. They might be like forced or maybe influenced in a bad way to choose euthanasia, and this population like can be compromised. And the third argument which opposes idea is slippery slope argument. So the slippery slope argument suggests that permitting voluntary euthanasia could lead to acceptance, and like it could normalize the idea of non-voluntary euthanasia, and which could undermine the whole moral fabric of society. And the last argument which opposes idea is impact on medical profession. So the roles healthcare providers could be like mentally altered, and physician might have to face ethical dilemma that could conflict with their duty of heal, and might a patient not trust the doctors. So in general, the supporters argue the respect for personal choice with opponents, while the opponents emphasize the inheritance value of life and the risk associated with voluntary euthanasia. In general, this whole debate consider the biomedical principles, society values, and practical safeguards to navigate this sensitivity issue responsibly.